You got some goals that you really want to achieve, but you don't know how. Now listen to this. Eliminate from your thoughts all doubt and uncertainty that you will succeed and get what you want. You may have some uncertainty as to methods, but you must have none as to ultimate results. You may not feel certain that you will succeed today or next week, but you must feel certain that you will succeed sometime. Now let that sink in. Just rest in that attitude concerning your own goals. And it's going to be a lot more fun to work towards them without that stress or worry of, can I really do it? How will I make it happen? When will it happen? We all have these struggles at times with our goals, and through this video I wanted to remind you that it doesn't have to be this way. You can succeed. It may not happen tomorrow or next week or next month, but you will succeed sometime. So let's talk about it. Hey there, welcome back. I'm sure you've had goals in your life where you knew you wanted to achieve them, but instantly you were like, but I don't know how to achieve them, so why should I set this goal? It sounds silly in a way. You're like, I would like to have this, but I don't know how. I would like to do this, but I don't know how I could ever do it. I don't have the money, I don't have the means, I don't know the people to make it happen. I think we can all agree we have experienced this, and I think it has to do with the tendency within our subconscious mind that we do not really believe that we can achieve anything we want. Now, this is a subconscious belief that is within, I think, every one of us because of the way we're raised in society. We're raised to get a good degree and then get a good job. We're not raised to think for ourselves and decide how we're going to live the life according to how we want to live it. And because of that tendency, if you hear videos like mine or perhaps from other YouTubers or authors, you read their books, inspirational books, and you're like, it sounds powerful, but nothing happens. I just can't make it happen. You try to set a goal, but instantly you're like, this could never happen for me. Have you ever noticed this? If you're really honest with yourself, you will notice that the tendency is in your mind. Now this has to do with something called habits, a habitual way of living that is actually within your subconscious mind. Now I remember talking to some people in the Netherlands over the years. They would tell me about their goals. I would tell them, okay, so if you imagine it to be this way, can you see it like that? And they're like, yeah, I can see it like that. I said, okay, so now you just have to act like that. They're like, okay. And then I say, well, why are you not doing it? And they're like, well, I don't know. You know, you see many people say, I don't know. When you ask them, why don't you do better? I don't know. Have you ever noticed this? It happens a lot of times. Maybe you're doing it. The reason why you're saying, well, I don't know, is because your mind is so trained. There's this program going on in your subconscious mind. It's happened subconsciously for most people. That's stopping them from really considering new and better ideas when they come to them. So people might be watching my videos, they could be new and better ideas for them, but still nothing improves because, well, I don't know. If you ask them, what doesn't your life improve? Well, I don't know. It's because you're not exercising your mind with conscious awareness. Now that is the journey, that is that shift within consciousness that, I would say all of creation, but let's put it with humanity alone right now, because I think we're the only creatures on the planet that really thinks the way we think and build the way we build things. So it is up to us human beings to learn to consciously control it. And once you do that, well, then you realize if you set a goal in your mind, well, you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You know it will happen over time regardless. So that's something that I wanted to talk about in this video. How did I apply these goals in my own life, or these ideas, I mean? How did I apply this? Well, it started out subconsciously for me as well. I have to take you back to my high school times even. As I said it in my previous video, I wanted to make a movie. Well, when I set the goal of making a movie, I didn't know how I would get into the movie industry at the time. Now I also explained I gave up on that goal back then because of all sorts of other reasons that were going on in my private life, some very difficult reasons as well, some very harsh traumatic events, but we're not going to get into that through this video. But what happened with me was that I just set the goal. I just literally, if I look back now, I know that I imagined what I wanted to achieve. I didn't realize I was using some power of the mind that anybody could use consciously for any goal in general. I set the goal, and even though I didn't know how I was going to do it, I just subconsciously trusted that I would figure it out. So other people might think it's a little crazy. They would look at me, or maybe to you with your goals, and they think, how is that going to be possible for you? There's no way. It's going to be very difficult. So don't count your luck. It's probably not going to happen for you. That's what most people would hear from their peers around them, right? Well, I had the same. People would think it was kind of funny and weird. Yet I kept the goal. And then over time, more and more ideas started to come to me. And I discovered more and more ways on how I could make it happen. But here's the thing. I didn't know how it was going to happen to begin with, yet I stuck with the goal. Now you can do the same with any goal in your life, no matter what it is. For example, if it's wealth. Money is an important thing, let's be honest with this. But most people wouldn't even set the goal for money because they're already like, well, how can I ever become financially independent? You know, they immediately want to know how it's going to happen. They want to exactly know how it's going to happen. Yet that's not how it's going to work. That's not how this process works. What I'm getting at is that you right now, you can think of anything you want. I tell this in previous videos, but really try to grasp what that means. You can think anything you want to think. So what are you thinking about? Are they positive, uplifting thoughts? Thoughts about where you want to go? Or are they contradicting thoughts? Are you spending more time on limiting beliefs, ideas that society perhaps taught you when growing up? Or are you now using information like this to try and at least expand that mind of yours to think of better ways of living? You look at whatever area that you're struggling with, you look at it and you're like, what would it be like if this was the way I want it to be? And it's by answering that question in your mind, you automatically start shifting your thoughts in the direction of where you want to go. And then you keep doing that, you keep focusing in that direction, and you will discover over time the how will be shown to you. Now the movie projects was just one example. I also wanted to make music. This also happened in my teenage years. I actually dedicated about 7 years of my life to producing music. But again, I had an idea of what sort of music I wanted to make. Didn't mean I instantly made that sort of music. I actually had to practice, learn my skills, become better at producing it. Yet again, I set the goal. I didn't know how it was going to happen, yet I set the goal anyway. I even would tell friends, like, I want to be a musician. Yeah, people laughed at me again. How are you going to do that? People want to always sort of almost mock you, like, if you don't know how, well then you can never make it happen. That's what we operate with. We operate with that idea either consciously or subconsciously because of the way we're trained in society. So again, I didn't care if I didn't know how. Again, I didn't consciously recognize that, but I just didn't care. I only knew this is what I want. I can feel this desire. I want to create music, man. I want to create electronic music at the time. So I started working at it. Well, for a while it was actually really bad music. Even to this day, some people might still say it's bad music because our tastes might differ. However, then it was really bad, trust me. It was just some kick clap and some weird synth melody that it wasn't a coherent whole. Now over time, what happened is I got better at it. And then I started telling stories through my music, either stories of loss, tragedy even, other times hopeful messages, and they became a coherent whole. All these little elements that go into music, and it became better and more awesome. And then over time, people actually started telling me, you know, this could be cool on a music festival. I think people would go really crazy on these tracks, some of them at least. Well, again, it didn't happen like that, but I knew in my teenage years I would really love to create such music. Again, I didn't know how, yet I set the goal and I went for it. Do you have something like that? I know some people out there might want to be a musician or do something creative, but then they don't really pursue it because they just don't know how. What I'm trying to get is, you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to make sure your desire is strong enough that you really and sincerely know that the thing that you want to go for is something that you would be willing to dedicate years or perhaps the rest of your life towards, because that's what I always felt with these two goals so far. And that's how it can work for you as well. So here we are, talking about movies and music. This is the third one, writing. You know, I actually also wanted to be a writer. Yeah, this guy just wants to do all sorts of stuff, I know. But I imagine some people out there have the same. Okay, what happened with the writing stuff? I have to take you back into the past again. Before I ever wrote any book, I would tell people I actually would think it would be awesome to write an inspirational book, or at least a book that could actually help people, that could sort of inspire them, make them feel better, more hopeful for their own lives. But what did people say? Can you guess? Well, you need a lot of luck to write a book. If you could write a book, Reneil, that would be amazing. Those were just their words. And I was like, okay, cool. Anyways, I'm going to write a book. Well, I started writing it. Months went by. Eventually, I got my very first book done. It's like my music, it was terrible, right? Well, I honestly think it is just terrible. For multiple reasons, but let's just put it like that. But the book was made, and people were like, whoa, you really wrote a book? And I was like, yeah, I told you that was a goal I had. Now the reason why people think that's difficult as well is because of an old idea. The beauty of this is if you want to write a book in this day and age, you can really easily do it right now. With my current books, they're on Amazon, so people can actually purchase them internationally. Well, that would have been a pipe dream back then, because the internet was different in general. And in the very old days, you really had to get a publisher that had to read your manuscript and then decide, is this good enough? If so, we'll publish it. If not, sorry, we won't do it. And you would have to keep finding someone that would publish your work. Well, thankfully, we don't have that issue. So if you have a dream of writing your own book, you can start today and you can publish it whenever you want through Amazon or other online platforms, because they don't really mind. You just have to make sure your grammar is on point and stuff like that, little details like that, so hopefully the reader can understand it and isn't too bothered by what they're reading or the way it is written, right? Well, again, I had the goal, but I didn't know how it was going to happen. Literally, this is where most people screw up when writing, at least back in those days, and even in this day. They're like, well, I would like to write a book, but I don't know how to get it published. I don't know how people will ever discover it. I don't know how people will ever find out about my book and read it. All these how questions that shouldn't even matter. First, in this case, write the book. That's what I did. Once the book is done, you can actually start sharing it yourself. You can let people know about it, your friends, family. You have to start somewhere, right? Well, in my case, now years later, because this is also like 10 years at least ago, this first book. Now, years later, in 2018, I wrote 2 new books, The Miracle of Wanting and Thinking from Imagination, both in Dutch and English. Got people to help me with the grammar. Now, of course, maybe there's still some errors in there, but it's a lot better than if I never got any help at all. So the books were done. I didn't know how to publish it on the international market. Then a friend of mine, this is the beauty, this is how it falls into place. A friend of mine was like, hey, have you ever looked into that Amazon thing? I was like, no, what do you mean? And then I started checking it out and I noticed, oh, you could actually publish it through Amazon? What the hell? Like, not everybody knows this. Don't underestimate it. You probably know that if you bought books there, you know that they sell books, that you can get it. But not everybody knows you can publish your own books that easily. I didn't either. However, here's the thing. Regardless of that, I still wrote the book in English, even though I didn't know how it would ever reach people. Now, months later, actually almost a year later, these videos exist now because I realized, well, one way on how I could get people to discover my book is by first making videos. Inspirational videos, as I like to call them, so people can discover my books over time through these videos. I know some of the viewers of mine have actually bought a copy, and some actually told me in private that it really helped them. With others, well, I didn't really hear back from them. It's okay. But here's the thing. When I first set the goal of writing the book, I had no idea. Now these are just a few examples of how this happens. You have goals in your life, I'm sure, where you feel like, I wish I could achieve this, but I don't know how. Is it dawning upon you that you don't have to know how? You just have to know you're going to get there. Now those were 3 areas, right? Oh no, he's not going to end now, is he? Exactly. Now there was another area which is called the YouTube that we're doing right now. Sorry, there's an itch in my nose, but we're good to go again, I hope. There's another area called YouTube, where I always felt like it would be awesome to build my own channel. You know, to have viewers worldwide. Just sounds kind of epic, doesn't it? In a way, it's pretty freaking cool. Let's put it like that. So I started in 2015 to take that goal serious. I was like, so if I make a YouTube channel in my mind, there's no viewers right now. How am I going to get the viewers? Well, I didn't think of that. Most people do that. Trust me, they do. They see other YouTubers and they're like, I want to be a YouTuber, but how will I ever get all those viewers like them? Or how can I get similar results like them? Don't obsess too much over the how. Always remember, and this is what I subconsciously did in a way, but slowly I'm learning it consciously. Until this point, now I do it consciously. It's like, first of all, and as a YouTuber, again, if you just make videos, people will find out about it over time. However, it is up to us to make sure that we try to create it in the best quality we currently can, so that then people will be attracted to it. Viewers will come. How? I don't know. I'm not concerned. I literally don't care. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the support when it comes. It's more like I know there's no point in obsessing over how the viewers will come. I only know the only thing I can realistically do is put out videos, and then the how will take care of itself. Now that takes some trust and understanding to approach your own goals like that. But you can do this. And videos like this hopefully remind you that there's people out there who are literally living like this. I'm one of them. There's others like me out there who are doing the same thing. And we're trying to tell you that no matter what your goals is, instead of obsessing instantly over how you're going to do something, set the goal and watch what happens. Because over time, more and more ideas start to float to you. And these ideas are actually what helps you to figure out how you're going to do it over time. While at the same time, look at this. At the same time you're focused in your mind on where you want to go, the how will slowly catch up to that. And in this manner, I mean, the ideas to get there will slowly come to you. I've seen this happen with other YouTubers as well. Some were very tiny. When they contacted me on my older channel, that's gone now, when I had like 50,000 subscribers there, some tinier channels with only like 30 subscribers contacted me. I just gave them a shout out because I saw that they were serious about what they were doing. Right now, if I would check, they're like pretty big ones right now. One of them is pretty big, I think maybe around 100,000 subscribers by now. But he started out, was very tiny, but he reached out to me, and afterwards he thanked me a couple of times. He was like, you know, dude, thanks to you, man. You gave me a chance. You were the first person that gave me a chance, man. And it started growing. And I just said, well, you know, it's not that so much that I gave you a chance. You gave yourself a chance by starting to put out content, putting your heart and soul into it so people would be attracted to that. I noticed that. That's why I gave you the shout out. Because I've had other people who contact me, but you know, they're kind of lazy. They're not really, they don't seem passionate and serious. There's an ingredient missing called passion. But once you have that passion injected behind your goal or into your goal, so to speak, well, then the how on how you're going to do it will follow automatically over time. As the start of the video said, you may not achieve your goals tomorrow or next week. You just have to know you will achieve them sometime. time. Now that's the beauty of all of this. The goals that I described are goals that you could work on. I know some people out there want to do stuff like this, but again, because they don't know how, they don't even want to make the effort. But remember, more often than not, it's a subconscious tendency. And as I'd like to try to share you through this video was that you have an option to redirect your mind, to focus it into another direction instead of staying stuck at that how phase. Because that's where the doubts start to come in. Because you can't see instantly the entire road that you need to take in order to get where you want to be in life. But no, it's a matter of growth. You outgrow your current reality, and as you're doing that, more and more ideas will add to your mind that will help you to figure out, when you look back, you figured out how you could achieve your goal. That's the beauty. It's only usually when you look back that you realize all the little things that started to happen and occur in your world that ultimately helped you get where you wanted to go. Even though when you set to go, you didn't know how. But afterwards you look back, you're like, oh, but I did discover how to do it. So this really works. I know it from my personal experience. So with that being said, I hope you approach your goals from this angle from now on, because I know it's a subconscious tendency, as I said. Really analyze your own mind to figure out if you're sabotaging yourself. And never forget that we are the dreamers.